What's up, friends? In this video, I'm gonna take you through the exact dimensions, how big, how small, and the progressions in which I got all the climbing equipment in my gym, which is kind of how I turned my gym into more of an American Ninja Warrior style gym with tons of climbing obstacles and fun strength building station activities for kids. So let's get started. This video, I'm realizing it's getting pretty long, so I just wanted to let you know that if you're on YouTube, you can click the link down in the description to go to the blog post where I'll break everything down by each section, and there will also be time code links as well on YouTube. If you're watching on the blog post, awesome, you can just scroll down and you can see breakdowns of each different element, the rock wall, the ropes, the climbing monkey bars, and the cargo net and all that stuff. So hope it's helpful, guys, and enjoy the video. Thanks for checking it out. Now, pretty much every piece of equipment that I got separately, so it didn't happen all at once, which is why it's kind of all spread out throughout my gym, which I'm really actually grateful for, because if I had gotten it all at once, I probably would have tried to put in like rock walls all together, connected everything, and put all the climbing elements in one spot. And it actually works out much better now for me to have it spread out throughout the gym as a station activity. So I'm really glad it works out that way. This is what I like to call the number rock wall, because this one has numbers at the top, and then our other rock wall over here has letters at the top separating each section. This is something that we acquired my third year teaching at the school. It was a PTO fundraising event, and this is you can kind of see the sections. Each number is a different section of the wall. So the plywood section, which is an 8x4, so it's 8 feet tall. And since there are 5 sections, it's 20 feet long, and it's a traverse wall. So both of the rock walls I have are traverse walls, which means you try to go across, and this red line is the safety line, so the kids keep their feet below that red line. So you're basically bouldering and trying different problems. You can see the different colors on the wall. Those are the different routes that you can climb, and they are divided by difficulty. So the kids, first in kindergarten and first grade, they just try to climb across the wall. They don't worry about the colors too much. And then in second and third grade, I'm telling them and teaching them some of the routes so they can climb. Green is the easiest, yellow is medium, green and yellow is a little bit easier than green, and you can mix up the routes and things like that. And then in fourth and fifth grade, I challenge them to try to keep track of what color they're on and how far across they can climb, and if anybody can climb the red, which is the hardest one. Another fun challenge we do sometimes, we have these little noodle holders that go on the rock wall, and I have 3 of those set up, and so that kind of creates 3 different stations on the wall. So for the noodle challenge, you want to put your hands on the start. There's a little blue piece of tape that says start right here. Both hands have to go on that when you're on the wall, and then you're trying to find a way to climb through the wall without knocking the noodle down. And then you want to get your hands to the finish. So this one is marked finish, both hands go on the finish. So now I've completed that noodle challenge. I can go to the other ones. You see we have yellow set right here and then a red set over there on the end. My basic rules are pretty much one person for each number, or over there each letter. And then if you fall down, they have to walk off the mat and go back to the start, and making sure that nobody walks on the mat back to the start, because you wouldn't want people walking on the mat behind someone when they're climbing. So that's pretty much it, although Everlast Climbing does have a nice rules poster that they gave us right there. But those are pretty much the main rules. And I do an activity to introduce the rock wall to my kindergarten first graders, which I already have a video about, and I will link it up somewhere in the description here. It's called Climbers and Coaches. Next up, let's talk about our letter rock wall. And this one basically is a little bit longer because we didn't want to have to move the basketball crank there, so that's why we didn't connect them, which I'm really glad we didn't, because it allows me to have 2 separate station activities, 2 different rock walls for kids to climb on. So we left a little space there, and then we kind of just went to the end of the wall over here on this side, and that allowed us to get 6 panels. So this one is 24 feet by 8, 24 feet long, 8 feet high. Same idea as far as you can't put your feet above the red, but you'll see this one has little formations on it, rock formations.
And so that's just another type of wall that makes it a little more realistic, a little more natural, and kids can use those little grips to put their feet on or their hands to grab it, and it feels more like a real rock. That's the only difference between the two walls. This one is a little bit nicer, and you can price those on Everlast Climbing. They'll give you a quote for how much it costs. And similar to our other wall, we have the routes, so the different colors that you can climb that changes the difficulty of the challenge. And also these little noodle holders can make like a little mine bomb area they try to avoid. And then this is a hula hoop holder, which holds a hula hoop, and the kids try to climb through the hula hoop, just like the noodle challenge. But instead of having a noodle, you're trying to climb through hula hoop without knocking it down. So those are a fun few variations that I add in throughout the year to give kids different challenges to try when they're working on their rock climbing skills.
What do my elementary kids act like when they see me pull the ropes down for PE class?
Let's go, 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 let's go.
So after we got this wall, which was really great as a station activity, but I wanted to get more climbing things because you can't have an entire class of 25 kids on one wall. There's only 5 sections, so the maximum kids that are allowed to be on there is 5 at a time. And so I was trying to get more things. The next thing I got was these ropes right here, which we have a climbing rope. So this one has like the big knots in it. You can see the scarves that mark each level where they're allowed to go. And then this one is one of the ropes with the small knots in it, like the little rope that goes around, and we just use that one for swinging, so the kids don't climb that one. It'll be a little bit too difficult for the average student. I did tie a knot in this one so that they had like one extra thing to grab onto, but you can see that's kind of what it looks like the whole way up. If I had to estimate these spaces on these, I would say probably about every 18 inches is the knot spacing. And then the tallest flag up there is probably about even with the basketball goal, so that's probably about 10 feet off the ground, maybe 12 at the most. The rope that we use to pull the climbing ropes up just has some carabiners attached to it, and it gets pulled up on a pulley system that is connected to this little hook. Now, when we want to take the ropes down, what we do is I have the ropes like pulled up into the ceiling so they're out of the way. And we just have these 2 dock cleats, so you can kind of wrap the rope around those. And then when you want to let them down, you just undo this rope right here, and the ropes will drop down from the ceiling, and then have little carabiner hooks on there. Just unhook them and the ropes are ready to go. You can see here, it's nothing fancy. It's just a piece of rope with a carabiner. And when we want to take the ropes off, we just unclip the carabiner. When we're putting the ropes back up, I just wrap this around, clip it in, and then pull the rope back up. And once it's up where you want it, voila. So usually the first time I pull the ropes out for the year, I'll climb up to the top and just double check everything and make sure everything looks good. But I do climb up there and make sure that the lock is still screwed in tight and everything is working correctly. And I swing on it really hard a few times and make sure everything's good before I let kids do it. So I do a yearly check on that. For the climbing rope, we use a 8-inch thick crash pad, and when I was standing on the crash pad and trying to figure out how high I wanted the kids to climb, I just got like a normal size kindergartner or a normal size first grader and had them come and stand on the rope. And basically I wanted them to not be able to touch the first scarf without climbing, but I wanted it to be just one notch up from where they could touch. So for my kindergarten first students, most of them, if they reach their hands above their head, they're touching this knot right here. And so that's why I put the scarf on the next knot. And then when kids get into 2nd and 3rd grade, they can go up to the orange, which is one knot above that. And then 4th and 5th grade are going up there. And I don't let the kids go past that scarf. And if a kid climbs that high, they should be able to climb down safely without falling. If you're strong enough to go up, it's much easier to go down. But of course, we always talk to kids about making sure that they do not jump down from the ropes or jump down from the rock wall, because we want them to be safe. Even though, honestly, the longer that I've had these rock walls, I'm not as strict about that. Like, I'm not gonna call a kid out every time I see them jump down from the rock wall, because their feet are underneath that red line. And so their feet are like 1.5 to 2 feet above the ground. So it's not a huge dangerous thing for them to just drop off the wall and land on their feet and bend their knees. But we still do have that as a rule because I don't want kids jumping off the wall all the time. So that's the ropes. Let's check out the cargo net and the monkey bars. All right, so here is our wall-mounted monkey bars, and this is something that I've had wanted for so long because I'm in charge of training our first grade students on how to use the monkey bars, because in kindergarten our kids have their own little playground over by their classrooms. It's more appropriate for 4K in kindergarten, and when they get to first grade they get to go to the big playground, which is the first grade through 5th grade, with like the general basketball court, recess stuff, and monkey bars. And so a lot of kids were getting hurt on the monkey bars, and so ever since I can remember, I've been in charge of taking the kids out there and taking them to the playground and training them on how to use the monkey bars and how to fall safely and drop down and all that stuff. And so having these in the gym made it so much easier because I didn't have to waste the time of lining up all of my first grade students at the very beginning of the year and taking them out and wasting the whole class going out to the playground. So we practiced these monkey bars to train the kids in first grade on how to use them on the playground, and then also just as a fun challenge for our students. And many times, like if you look in the Everlast climbing catalog, which again, we bought all of our rock climbing equipment and cargo net and all the rock walls and everything from Everlast Climbing, you'll see these mounted above the rock wall along with the cargo net. And I like having them separate because once again, it allows me to have more kids on the equipment at the same time. And so I would recommend, if you're getting this installed, try to find a place that you can put it in your gym where it's going to be a separate thing. I can have 5 kids on this because doing it one time, they need to take a break before they can try it again, because it's a really big muscular activity. And then after we got the monkey bars installed, I had one of those big stack mats up here for the kids to be able to get up to the monkey bars. It's the one thing I didn't think about. So make sure you do get a rock panel. If I had thought about it ahead of time, I would have gotten Everlast to install one of their rock panels. But we just I bought a box of climbing holds, and we had a local playground installer guy come and install this for us. So this is good because it acts as a filter. If kids can't climb up this rock wall right here to get to the monkey bars, they're probably not strong enough to actually do the monkey bars. And so they probably shouldn't be up on the monkey bars, especially those younger kids like 1st and 2nd. That's pretty high for them. My 5th graders, a lot of them can jump up and grab it without even climbing, the taller ones. And so when I was deciding how high to put these, I got the tallest kid in the school, who was almost my height, had them come and reach up as high as they can. And you can see that I can almost reach it with my hands, just like that. So you want it as low as you can get it without making it so low that the tallest kids in your school are gonna have to pick their feet up, because then that's not very much fun. So we have the climbing wall. I put a mat down under that when we do the monkey bars, and then you can see the jump rope rack behind it. And that's something that I just recently added during COVID, because it's easy to spray down the jump ropes in between classes, and we just had a little board on the wall with some hooks on it. Let's check out the cargo net. So this is our cargo net, and you can see the pull-up bars over here. I'll throw a chair under that and let the kids practice pull-ups at the station as well, so they can try the monkey bars, they can try the cargo net, they can try the pull-ups. The rules for the cargo net is I let one kid go on each side of the cargo net, and they can climb up and try to touch the red bar, and just make sure they don't put their head past the red bar. And we don't climb on the other side of the cargo net, obviously, because then you can swing into the wall and hurt yourself. So all the climbing equipment, the rules are very similar as far as don't be on the mats when people are climbing, one person on each section at a time. And for the rock walls, make sure your feet stay under the red line. So those are the basic main rules that we're trying to make sure the kids do to make sure they're doing things safely. So as you can see, we kind of have this all in one area of the gym in the little corner over here. And this is separate from the rock wall, so it really allows me to have like one station of climbing ropes and swinging ropes, one station of a climbing wall, another station of a climbing wall, and then also having this little area over here, so I can almost get an entire class doing different climbing activities and climbing challenges, and it really does feel like an American Ninja Warrior gym. When you walk in and you see all these kids at all these different climbing stations, it's a lot of fun. Usually I'll throw in something else to give them a little bit of a break, like maybe some scooters or jump ropes or hula hoops or basketball or something like that. But that's kind of an overview of the climbing setup that I have, and I'm really glad that we didn't do it all at once, because it gave me time to think about and try out with one section of a rock wall what it's like. And then I realized, hey, it would be nice to, instead of having like an entire 30-foot rock wall, just having 2 different sections, and that would allow me to have 2 different stations for kids to climb on. And then I could put all the other stuff over here in this corner, and that would allow me to have another station. The climbing ropes go over there. And so the more little areas of your gym that you can kind of build in to have station activities for kids, I think the more effective it is for you, and the more kids you're going to be able to get moving at the same time, which is what I'm always trying to do. One question I do get a lot is how did you install all these things? And we had ours professionally installed, which I would recommend if that's a possibility for you to do that. And if you buy your rock walls through Everlast Climbing, they do send somebody out to install them, and it's like one installation fee for the whole thing. I personally would have been comfortable installing rock walls myself, because that's just something that I would be comfortable with. I would be comfortable taking on the liability, because I'm confident in my ability to anchor a piece of plywood to a concrete wall. But my administration was not comfortable taking on that liability, and I think that's a wise choice. Especially you don't know how long that's going to be up there, and you want to have the liability on another company if possible. If your school is a smaller school, or they're more open to doing DIY projects and things like that, you could save a lot of money if you install everything yourself. I know everybody's going to ask about pricing. You're going to have to get a quote. Everything is custom, coming from Everlast. All the equipment that I showed you in this video came from Everlast Climbing, except for the climbing ropes, which I purchased from just Googling climbing ropes and got them from some online retailer. Let's see if we can find an example, just to show you an example. Here we go, friends. So I'm just going to Google climbing ropes for physical education. Let's see what we come up with. There's a lot of options for you. You see S&S has one here, Go for Sport, Flag House. There's a lot of different options. I would probably not go with something like Amazon unless the length just adds up exactly right for you. Just because these equipment retailers are going to have more customizable things. So let's check out Gopher, since that's the first link. So you can see the 2 different options, the Manila, Unmanila, and Poly Plus. I'm pretty sure this is what I have. It looks pretty similar, so let's click on that. So you can see there's 2 different options. You can get the Poly Boot or the Turk's Head. I think that's these 2 different options right here. I'm pretty sure I have the Poly Boot. And then the beginner is with knots. The woven rest grip is the little like white thread grips that are like the ones that I showed you on my swinging rope. And then no knots is obviously just the rope with nothing on it. You got your length right here. And then if you scroll down, it has the more detailed things here. You want, 1 foot of deduction from the rafters to the bottom for clearance. You can get custom links, contact for details. Here's the knot types. So I had the beginner knots. They're going to be 18 inches between. And then my swinging rope has the rest grip knots, which are those little like white threaded woven knots every 18 inches. So those are some options for you, and there's a few reviews. And then, you can look around at the whatever equipment retailer you decide to go with, and you can see a lot of their different options for climbing equipment here. And that's it. So good. Oh, look at that. That's kind of nice. I wouldn't mind getting one of those. A little rope hoist lockbox. I would also recommend getting something like this, which is similar to what I have. It's like a little lock that goes around the rafters. Let me see if it'll show me a close-up. Yeah, so basically it's just a safety precaution, and this little thing goes on the rope. So if there was ever a failure here, which, like I said, I do a yearly inspection on mine, so you definitely want to inspect those yearly, and these are rated for thousands and thousands of pounds. So you're probably not going to have a failure, but just in case, you don't want a heavy chain or something dropping from the ceiling onto a kid. So this would, if like this chain link broke, for example, or this came loose and unscrewed, this wire right here would keep the rope from falling down, and it would just drop like maybe 1 or 2 inches. So I would definitely recommend getting that since you're in a school, just for some extra insurance and, you know, liability in case something happens. You know, safety first. Good luck, friends, and happy shopping. Another cheap option that you can try out is get a pair of $30 rings if you have these wall-mounted basketball goals, and you can have yourself a nice pull-up station, which you can then modify by using these straps to bring them lower or higher in whatever length you need to. If you don't have a pull-up bar and you're looking for a way to give your kids a chance to do pull-ups, that's a great, cheap, easy alternative if you have these wall-mounted basketball goals or something that you can hang the straps from. That's it, guys. I hope that was helpful, and my encouragement to you would be, none of this stuff was here when I got to the school, and I didn't get it all in 1 year. It took multiple years and multiple fundraisers and multiple proposals and asks to finally get everything how I wanted it. Change takes time, so focus on one small thing you want to add to your gym each year, and slowly add those things as you can, unless you have an opportunity to get a giant grant and you need to spend $40,000, and then just do it all at the same time. I do really like having the rock walls separate and the cargo net and monkey bars separate and the ropes in a separate spot, so I can kind of have different stations and more kids can get active at the same time. So I would recommend doing that if you have the space. The only downside of the rock walls is that you're kind of gonna lose some of that bouncing space if you're trying to bounce a ball off of a wall. So the kids are gonna either have to like throw the ball above the rock wall or use some of the other spaces. So that's one thing to think about. I felt that we still have plenty of space to bounce stuff on the walls in the gym. And here's the dimensions of my gym if you're interested, and the lines and the 4 square courts and everything, how it's laid out. Luckily, I was able to design that because we got the floors redone my 4th year here. So I was able to design the lines on the floor exactly how I wanted them. That's pretty much it, guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope you have an awesome day, and good luck getting your own American Ninja Warrior climbing challenges, equipment type stuff in your own teaching space. That is it. And if you have any questions or want any links or anything, I'll try to link everything up on the blog post. It's linked up below. And I'll have some additional videos and things there as well that might be helpful. So hope you guys have an awesome day. As always, have fun and teach on. Catch you later.